Hello, my channel say that in the glittering, high-stakes world of the bold and the beautiful B&B, where fashion empires clash with family feuds, love triangles ignite like wildfires, and villains lurk in the shadows of opulent mansions, few characters have left as indelible a mark as Dr. James Warwick. Portrayed with charismatic intensity by actor Ian Buchanan, James burst onto the scene in 1993 like a beacon of sanity amid the chaos of the Forrester and Logan dynasties. A world-renowned psychiatrist with a chiseled jaw, piercing eyes, and an intellect sharp enough to unravel the most tangled psyches, he was more than just a healer, was a catalyst for drama, romance, and redemption. For years, fans have speculated, hoped, and theorized about his potential return. The character vanished from the canvas in the late 1990s, only to make sporadic, tantalizing cameos that kept his legend alive. But now, after an 8-year drought of any mention whatsoever, a subtle yet electrifying clue has surfaced in the November 3, 2025 episode. Dr. Taylor Hayes, the brilliant psychiatrist and perennial Forrester confidant, was spotted poring over one of James Warwick's best-selling books, his brooding photograph staring back from the back cover. Is this a mere Easter egg for die-hard fans, or the harbinger of a full-blown comeback? In this expansive exploration, we'll dissect James Warwick's storied history, his explosive relationships, his battles with darkness, and why his potential return could shake the very foundations of Los Angeles elite. Buckle up, this is no ordinary recap. It's a dramatic odyssey through soap opera royalty. The arrival of a savior. James Warwick enters the Forrester fray in 1993. Picture this, it's 1993, and the City of Angels is abuzz with the endless sagas of the Forrester Creations empire. Rich Forrester is torn between Brooke Logan and Taylor Hayes. Stephanie Forrester schemes with iron-fisted precision, and the Logan sisters navigate betrayal and ambition like sharks in couture-infested waters. Into this maelstrom steps Dr. James Warwick, summoned from the East Coast. Rumors swirled he was based in New York, or perhaps even Europe, to lend his expertise to the emotionally fractured families. James wasn't just any shrink, was a global icon in psychiatry. His credentials read like a thriller novel, degrees from prestigious institutions, groundbreaking papers on trauma and obsession, and a clientele that included celebrities, politicians, and tycoons. With his tailored suits, Scottish for Buchanan's real accent bleeding through for authenticity, and an aura of quiet authority, he immediately commanded respect. His first major case, helping the Forresters cope with the aftermath of a devastating family crisis, perhaps a shooting, a coma, or one of those classic B&B near-death experiences that leave characters forever changed. But James's impact went beyond therapy sessions in the Forrester living room. He became a confidant to Eric Forrester, the patriarchal designer whose heart was as vast as his ego. Eric, grappling with his own marital woes and the pressures of running a fashion powerhouse, found in James a mirror to his soul. The doctor diagnosed the root of Eric's anxieties, a fear of vulnerability in a world where power was currency. Similarly, with the Logans, James delved into Brooke's whirlwind romances, unpacking her patterns of self-sabotage and unyielding pursuit of love. He even counseled young Rick and Bridget, planting seeds of emotional resilience that would echo through decades of storylines. Yet, it wasn't all clinical detachment. James's handsome features and empathetic demeanor turned heads. Actresses like Brooke Catherine Kelly Lang, Taylor then played by Hunter Tylo, and even the fiery Maisie Alexander couldn't help but notice the spark. Flirtations, simmer-red-stolen glances during sessions, lingering handshakes that spoke volumes. James represented stability in a sea of scandal, a man who could heal not just minds but hearts. Little did anyone know, his own heart was about to be ensnared in the most dangerous web of all. The fatal attraction, James and Sheila Carter's twisted romance. If James Warwick's arrival was a breath of fresh air, his entanglement with Sheila Carter was a plunge into the abyss. Sheila, portrayed with maniacal brilliance by Kimberlin Brown, was and remains B&B's ultimate villainess. A nurse-turned-psychopath, Sheila had already terrorized the Forresters with shootings, baby switches, and honey-laced schemes. By the mid-1990s, she was pregnant with Eric's child, a plot twist that still boggles the mind. But her sights were set on something gorsome else. Enter the obsession. Sheila, ever the manipulator, fixated on James as her ticket to legitimacy. She saw in him not just a handsome doctor, but a shield against her crumbling facade. In a sequence of events that played out like a psychological horror film, Sheila cornered James in his office, her eyes wild with desperation. Pregnant and on the run from her latest crime, she forced him at gunpoint, or was it blackmail? The details blur in soap lore into a sham marriage. "Marry me, doctor, or face the consequences," she hissed, her voice a velvet blade. What began as a marriage of convenience, the Jams agreeing to protect the unborn child and perhaps salvage Sheila's sanity, evolved into something profoundly unexpected. Isolated in a remote cabin, classic B&B isolation trope, away from the prying eyes of Los Angeles, James and Sheila cohabited in tense proximity. He treated her as a patient, probing the depths of her fractured mind, childhood abandonment, rage-fueled impulses, a God complex disguised as maternal instinct. Sessions turned personal. Late-night confessions under flickering candlelight. Sheila, for once vulnerable, revealed glimmers of humanity. And then, the unthinkable, James fell in love. It wasn't Stockholm Syndrome, though fans debated it endlessly. It was genuine. He saw potential for redemption in Sheila's chaos. Their daughter, Mary Warwick, named after James's own lineage, perhaps, was born into this bizarre family unit. For a fleeting moment, they were a trio: James the devoted father, Sheila the reformed wife, Mary the innocent symbol of hope. Wedding vows echoed in memory, in sickness and in health, but twisted by Sheila's darkness. The drama peaked in heart-wrenching scenes. James defending Sheila to the skeptical Forresters, who viewed her as a ticking bomb. Eric's fury, Brooke's disbelief, Taylor's professional jealousy as a fellow psychiatrist. Yet, cracks appeared. Sheila's perverted ways, as the rumors phrased it, resurfaced. Old habits died hard, sheens against Lauren Fenmore, manipulations of those around her. James, heartbroken, filed for divorce. Custody battles ensued, with Mary caught in the crossfire. The breakup was explosive. Screams in the Forrester mansion, tears in the rain-soaked streets of LA, James walking away with a shattered soul but unbreakable resolve. The dark underbelly, addiction, blackmail, and a 2017 reunion. James Warwick's story didn't end with divorce. He lingered in the B&B universe like a ghost, popping up in crises. But his most gripping return came in 2017, a full 2 decades after his initial exit. Eric Forrester, ever the magnanimous patriarch, summoned James back to Los Angeles. The reason? Sheila Carter, injured in a dramatic confrontation involving Quinn Fuller, guns, and rooftop chase bar for the course. James arrived, older but no less commanding, his hair streaked with silver, his eyes carrying the weight of unspoken regrets. Tasked with evaluating Sheila's condition, he found himself thrust back into her orbit. Sheila, bedridden but no less lethal, uncovered James's secret, a painkiller addiction stemming from years of vicarious trauma. Treating the untreatable had taken its toll, nights along with bottles of pills to numb the echoes of patients' screams. Blackmail ensued in classic Sheila fashion. "Lie for me, James, or I'll expose you," she whispered from her hospital bed, her grip on his wrist like iron. James cornered falsified reports, claiming Sheila's injuries were far graver than they were. This bought her time, freedom, and another chance to wreak havoc. The moral dilemma tore at James: professional ethics versus personal survival. Scenes of him pacing hospital corridors, sweat beading on his forehead, confronting his reflection in mirrored window soap opera gold. Their interactions crackled with unresolved tension. Flashes of old love, a tender touch, a shared memory of Mary. But betrayal loomed. James eventually broke free, confessing to Eric in a thunderous confrontation amid the Forrester creation's runway lights. Sheila was exposed. James redeemed, but at what cost? He vanished again, leaving fans clamoring for more. Mary, now an adult off-screen, represented untapped potential. What became of her? Would she inherit her mother's madness or her father's intellect? 8 years of silence, the void left by James Warwick. From 2017 to 2025, James Warwick became a phantom. No mentions, no sightings, no dream sequences. In a show that recycles characters like designer handbags, this absence was deafening. Fans theorized wildly on forums. Was Buchanan unavailable? Had the writers forgotten? Or was it deliberate build-up for explosive return? The B&B landscape evolved dramatically. Sheila, resurrected multiple times, most recently in alliances with Deacon Sharp and bizarre sugar daddy plots. Taylor Hayes, James's professional peer, navigated her own storms, shootings, comas, rivalries with Brooke. The Forresters expanded with new generation Steffi, Thomas, and their children, while Logan's like Hope and Liam spun endless cycles of Lope and Steam. Yet James's expertise was sorely missed. Who else could unpack Bill Spencer's God Complex or Lee Finnegan's adoptive secrets? His book's fictional tomes on obsession, addiction, family dynamics, Spain canon props, alluded to in therapy sessions. But no face, no voice. 8 years felt like an eternity in soap time, where weeks equal months. The November 3rd bombshell, a book, a photo, and endless speculation. Fast forward to November 3rd, 2025. The episode opens on Taylor Hayes in her sleek office at Forrester Creations, stacks of files symbolizing the weight of LA's collective neuroses. She's researching perhaps for a patient, perhaps for personal growth. The camera lingers. Taylor flips open a hardcover book. Title, Something Profound Like Shadows of the Mind, Understanding Obsession. Author, Dr. James Warwick. Then, the close-up that sent shockwaves through fandom. The back cover, James's face, unchanged by time's soap magic, staring intently at the viewer. His bio blurb, world-renowned psychiatrist, author of best-selling works on trauma and redemption, former consultant to the Forrester family. Taylor's expression, a mix of nostalgia, intrigue, perhaps unresolved feelings. She traces the photo with her finger, a dramatic pause pregnant with possibility. Cut to commercial. Social media erupted. James Warwick returns trended on X, formerly Twitter. Fan theories exploded. Is Taylor summoning him for Sheila's latest escapade? A new villain requiring his expertise? Or a personal crisis, Taylor's own battle with shooter syndrome PTSD? This wasn't random. B&B head writer Bradley Bell is a master of foreshadowing. Books as props have heralded returns before think old letters or photos. Ian Buchanan, now in his 60s but still dashing, has expressed openness to reprising roles in interviews. The timing aligns with Sheila potentially resurfacing rumors of a prison break or clone. TWIST. B&B loves clones. Who better to counter her than the man who once loved and lost her? Why James must return. Dramatic potential and fan demand. Imagine the scenes. James striding into the Forrester mansion, briefcase in hand, greeted by gasps. Eric's bear hug. James' old friend. Ridge's suspicion. What brings you back? Brooke's flirtatious smile. And Sheila, the confrontation. A dimly lit room, James facing his ex-wife. You haven't changed, Sheila. Her reply. But you have, Doctor. Weaker. Subplots abound. Mary Warwick's introduction. A grown woman, perhaps a psychiatrist herself, seeking her parents. James's addiction arc revisited relapse in the face of LA. Excess. Romances with Taylor reigniting professional rivalry into passion. Or a new love interest, shaking up the triangle quota. Dramatically, James elevates stakes. He's not just muscle or eye candy, he's intellectual firepower. In an era of social media villains and quickie weddings, his depth grounds the show. Fans demanded petitions, fanfics, viral edits of old clips. Conclusion, the Doctor is einer is he. As the credits roll on that fateful November 3rd episode, one thing is clear, Doctor. James Warwick's shadow looms larger than ever. From his 1993 heroics to the Sheila saga, the 2017 blackmail, and now this literary tease, his journey is B&B at its most compelling love, betrayal, redemption wrapped in psychological thriller veneer. Will he return? The signs scream yes. But in soap opera land, nothing is certain until the actor utters those first lines. Until then, fans hold their breath, books in hand, waiting for the doctor to prescribe another dose of drama. James Warwick isn't just coming back, he's poised to heal, haunt, and conquer Los Angeles once more. Stay tuned, the session is about to begin.